Welcome to European Railway, issue number 48, the DVD magazine for the continental enthusiast. In this issue, we travel to Belgium to view activity to the west of the town of Dupont. A look at French railways to the south of Narbonne on the coastal route to Perpignan. Two locations in Poland feature both electric and diesel traction. A visit to Austria and a look at the main line to the east of Bruck and de Moor. The main line northwest of Kassel is featured as we travel to Germany. The meter gauge AAR line featuring the Wienertal und Surrentalbahn is visited in our Swiss section. And finally, some loud diesels as we take a look at a rural main line in Slovenia. We begin in northwest Belgium and to the main line linking Gent with Kortrijk. Located some 5 kilometers southwest of Gent is the small town of Dupont, where we filmed close to the main station and at a number of locations on the route west towards Denze. The date is the 7th of May 2012 and diesel unit number 4143 heads north off the non-electrified route from Oudenaarde. Following along behind is 1986 built dual voltage electric number 1211 on a container train bound for Antwerpen. This class of locomotive has now very few diagrams and the entire fleet is up for sale, with most being stored in Stockholm Yard. Another Belgium class of locomotive now consigned to history are the small fleet of Trax Class 29s. Here 2902 heads a container train from Paris to Antwerpen. Reorganisation of diagrams has meant that Class 13 work these trains, the Class 29s having been returned to leasing company Alpha Trains. Some services are operated by diesel locomotives, such as this cement train headed by number 7761. There were around 5 freight services and 8 passenger services seen along this stretch of line during our 90-minute stopover. Locomotive number 2105 brings up the rear of this eastbound service. Finally, we see 3 examples of the endangered early Belgian multiple units. First, a class AM62 leads a class AM63 unit. The second is a class AM70 unit, refurbished for use on local services around Bruxelles. In this section, we move to the south of France and to the Mediterranean coast just south of Narbonne. Here, the main line from Perpignan crosses the flat coastal plains, crossing numerous tidal inlets and bays. We begin looking south, just below Lineside station, as a pair of AGC Z27500 electric units head north with the 1539 from Serbière to Avignon. Freight services are much less common than they used to be. Heading north with a trainload of vans is this BB 26000. Moving north to our next location, and we are right next to the beach south of Port-la-Nouvelle, where we see another pair of Z27500 units on one of the hourly services to Serbière. Some of the best photographic vantage points are just north of Port-la-Nouvelle, where the line skirts the La Berre tidal inlet. Heading south is locomotive number 7201, seen in charge of the 1540 from Avignon to Port-Beau. The dry weather had set some of the distant scrubland alight, leaving a pale of smoke drifting for many kilometres. Our final location is at the northern part of the inlet, next to the vineyards belonging to Château de Ile. Across the water we see a pair of Z27500 units on their way south to Perpignan. We now move to Poland and to a rural main line in the central western part of the country, close to the Lubin and Glogów copper producing areas. Our filming location is at the town of Rudna Gwizdanu, just north of the junction where the main line to Wrocław diverges away to the southeast. Passenger services are mainly in the hands of Class EN57 electric multiple units, operated by Przewodzi Regionalne, on behalf of local authorities. Unit number 1265 arrives at the station with the 1452 from Wrocław to Zielona Góra. Unit number EN57910 is painted in the colours of locally based company Koleje Dolny Śląsk, which is owned and operated by the local government authority. Coming off the single track line up from Lubin is M62 1841 and TEM2 033, heading a trainload of copper ore to the smelters at Glogów. Our filming took place on Sunday the 13th of May 2012, and 4 freight services were seen in the 2 hours that we were here. The main station buildings look like they are a German design from when the region was part of Germany. Yet another front-end design is seen on this EN57 unit heading south, with the 1602 service from Zielona Góra to Wrocław. In our second section, we head around 110 kilometers south to the diesel-operated line that runs from Wałbrzych, Głogów to Nowa Ruda. The line runs along the base of the foothills that form the border with the Czech Republic. We chose two locations. The first is at Gusica Guma and the second just south of Bartnica. Although part of the station buildings are still lived in, there is no staff presence here, and it can be seen that the buildings are in desperate need of some external renovation. With just a handful of passenger trains here each day, it will be a long time before any investment is forthcoming, if indeed there ever will be. The local goods yard still has a derelict building, used to load wagons in the past. We're not sure if this was for coal or for stone traffic from a nearby quarry. Passenger services are worked by Class SA135 single rail cars. Trains operate to a roughly 3-hour interval in either direction, so you need plenty of patience if you are visiting the area. At Bartnica there is a local stone quarry, which dispatches a daily loaded train at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The empties, we understand, arrive between 6 and 7 AM. This is the only freight we saw during our 4-hour stay on the line. Photographs of the area on the internet do show the occasional freight using this route, but timings are unknown. This is the 1018 Glogów Miasto to Wałbrzych Główny. The shunter is a Class 401DA loco, number 228. It is from a fleet totalling 500, which were built by Fablock between 1968 and 1978. Those remaining are nearly all working on private industrial lines or in sidings such as this. The main line east of Bruck an der Mur is one of the 4 busiest in Austria and forms the principal corridor for freight and passenger traffic between Villach and Graz towards the capital, Vienne. In this section we pay a quick visit to the line, calling in at 3 locations on the morning of Monday, the 21st of May 2012. We begin at Marienne St. Lorentzen, as 1144090 heads a short westbound freight at just before 9 o'clock. Local stopping services are shared between loco hold formations and electric multiple units from the Class 4024 stable. This is a westbound service heading for Freisack. The morning pickup freight arrives at just after 9 AM. The train will retrace its steps back towards Bruck an der Mur before returning again in the afternoon. Usual motive power is a locally based Class 2068 diesel. In between trains, we were watching parachutists from the local police force, getting in a bit of practice. Train EC151 offers through carriages to Rijeka in Croatia. In charge of the train on this occasion are 1116090 and 165. This Hungarian track recording unit was a real surprise. Seven kilometres further west is the station at Broek aan de Moer. Just over 13,000 people live in the city, which dates from 1263. The principal employment in the area is in the paper and metal industries. Heading into the station is 4024-034 on a service to Vrijsach. The railjet services are entirely in the hands of dedicated Class 1116 electrics. Number 233 is on the rear of this service bound for Graz. On a typical weekday you can expect around 2 freight trains each way per hour, with more than this in the evenings. (2068-049) has been busy and is seen again as it continues west, hauling a long rake of vans and container wagons. Class 1142s tend to appear on local freight services these days, mainly working in the south and east of the country. Finally, Class 1116-198 heads east with train EC102, the 0914 from Villach to Warsaw. In this section, we spend an afternoon on the main line between Kassel and Paderborn. Our filming begins at the junction town of Altenbeken, before we continue south to the Warburg area, visiting a number of locations en route. We chose two locations at Altenbeken, one next to the main station and the second on the western edge of the town close to a large viaduct. Noordwestbahn operate hourly services via Paderborn between Holzminden and Bielefeld, using Talent diesel units mainly on lease from Angel Trains. This unit is seen crossing the 482 metre long Becker Viaduct. Just over 40 diesel units are used on services throughout this area of Germany. These are supplemented by a further 70 type Lint 41 diesel units. Another private operator, Eurobahn, operates a 2-hourly interval service between Warburg and Münster using a fleet of 43 Stadler 4-car Flirt electric units, of which 25 are leased from Angel Trains. Meanwhile, the country's state-owned operator is restricted to just running local services between Hanover and Paderborn using Class 425 electric units. Yet another private operator in the area is Westfalenbahn, which operates services between Paderborn and Herford. Like many of the others, their units are also leased from Angel Trains. The viaduct was officially opened on the 21st of July 1853 by King Friedrich Wilhelm IV. During the Second World War it was put out of action at least twice during raids by American bombers, and it wasn't until the 2nd of October 1950 that the repairs to the structure were finally completed. Freight traffic on the route is mostly chemical-based, with trains operating from the Ruhr industrial region to factories in the Halle area. A DB Cargo Class 152 heads east. A handful of intercity services use this line, usually every 2 hours in each direction. We now move to 4 locations south of Velobadessen on the route down to Warburg. The first scene shows a pair of RBH-owned Class 143 locomotives heading a tank train towards Altenbeken. The RBH is a subsidiary of DB Schenker and uses ex-DB electric locomotives on its longer distance services. Since 2012, the company also operates 2 Class 140 and 7 Class 151 locomotives. The main focus of the company is the operation of coal and steel trains around Oberhausen. We were surprised that more freight services weren't seen during our 5-hour visit to the line, with just 5 captured on film. Here 152095 heads a southbound container train. This is Bonnenburg on the site of the former station. As mentioned before, Eurobahn operates a service every 2 hours in each direction. Finally, the 1810 service from Münster to Warburg is seen not far from its destination. As the train passes, Dessenburg Hill can be seen in the far distance. We now travel to Switzerland and to the Weinental und Surrentalbahn, which today operates under the trading name of Aargau Agglomeration und Regionalverkehr, or AAR Bus and Bahn for short. The line operates from Aarau to Schriftland and from Aarau down to Menziken. We begin just north of the village of Unterkulm, as a two-car Class ABE48 unit forms a service for Menziken. The train has just left the small town of Teufenthal. During the weekday there is a quarter-hourly service, with trains operating to and from Schriftland. In the opposite direction, a service from Menziken is powered at the rear by a 1979 built Type BE44. These units are slowly being modernised, with some being repainted into the new corporate colour scheme. The line was opened through to Rheinach on the 5th of March 1904, and the extension to Menziken followed later on May the 1st. Originally there were two separate lines, one from Aarau to Schriftland, which opened in 1901, and the other from Aarau to Menziken, known as the Weinentalbahn, which follows the Wiener River Valley. Slightly further south and we are at Oberkulm station, one of the frequent crossing points on the line. Heading north is this ABE48 unit, one of a batch built and delivered in 1993. We continue our journey towards Menziken as we call into Gontenswil station, which lies on a tight easterly curve. Again, this is one of the frequent passing loops on the line where trains cross each other. This meter gauge line is just over 32 kilometers in length and is powered at 750 volts DC. Freight traffic is now much reduced, with just a handful of workings to a factory at Menziken. There was no sign of any traffic when we made our visit on the 25th of May 2012. We continue our journey south with our final section featuring the station at Rheinak and then onto the terminus at Menziken. This part of the line has been built on the redundant standard gauge line, which used to link Beinville am See with Beromünster, or the Zitelbahn as it was once known. The line was abandoned when freight traffic ceased in 1999, and the new route of the line was opened to traffic on the 15th of December 2002. Before this, the old line followed the route of the main road, and there were frequent congestion issues between road and rail operations. This is the incline up to the terminus station at Menziken. The line on the right leads to a factory where there is infrequent freight traffic. Our final scene shows one of the half-hourly arrivals from Schüftland, entering the modern station at Menziken. Note the external train shed doors, which are closed when the last service arrives at just before midnight. In the last section of this programme, we travel to Slovenia to look at a rural main line in the northeast of the country, which forms an important artery for freight traffic travelling to and from the port of Koper. Filming took place at various locations to the west and east of Putoi, as well as in the town itself. We begin at Putoi, as the evening peace is shattered by 664-107 working train IC246, the 1211 service from Budapest to Ljubljana. This train has since been withdrawn from the timetable. Filming was conducted on the afternoon of the 21st of May and the following morning on the 22nd. This is Kydryshevo, as rebuilt unit number 814126 heads east with the 1325 from Maribor. (664-113) makes light work of the two coaches, forming the 1235 from Ljubljana to Hodoš. (642-105) is on the afternoon trip freight from Putoi. Empty wagons from a nearby factory will be added here for the final run to Prăgăș. As can be seen, graffiti on some rolling stock is a major problem in Slovenia, with this unit, number 814046, being badly affected. Many of these Fiat-built units have been rebuilt, with new-style cabs and slanted front ends. The Class 664s are a big attraction for enthusiasts, with their loud exhaust making them very popular. Built under licence in 1984, they are a General Motors EMD design, similar to the popular GP38 locomotives found in the United States, which use the same engine. The route has been modernised over the years and is single track, with various passing points. These are mainly located at stations serving the largest towns. The line is also scheduled for electrification, but no evidence of mast installation was seen during our visit. When the new investment comes, it will see the end of most of the diesel classes currently operating on the line. Following the withdrawal of many passenger trains working into Hungary with the start of the winter 2012 timetable, the Class 664 diesels have now lost all of their passenger diagrams on this line. One such casualty is this train, the 0850 from Ljubljana to Budapest. 664107 was the loco in charge. The Class 664s do, however, continue to work most of the freight services. This is a container train from the port of Koper and is seen shortly after 12:30. Our final scene comes from the other side of the bridge, as 664-107 heads west towards Progersko. We hope that you have enjoyed watching this edition of European Railway.